Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex news update and sound the alarms. It is that time of the month again, and we got brand new official spoilers via the official Naruto website right now. So this is what they want you to know now that the new chapter is 6 days away from release, which you can read the new chapters for free on the Viz Media Shonen Jump app or on the Shueisha Manga Plus app. Throwing that out there because each month it never fails. I get comments of people saying, where can I read the manga? Now you know. This chapter will kick off the first chapter of volume 4 of the manga, and it is taking a page out the book of what volume 2 did, where we're getting the answer to a major question that fans have been asking for the last few months, in the form of another flashback in regards to Boruto's time skip, which towards the end of the video itself, we really got to discuss what a time skip is, because there are a lot of people who seem confused as to why the story's taking the approach it is with time skips. So since the chapter will be out on Tuesday, we might get full spoilers this weekend, depending on if anyone's able to get their hands on the magazine or not. So keep notifications turned on so you don't miss any updates as they happen, including the next official teaser spoiler of another page being released by the Naruto website in a few days. So jumping right in, the official teaser has a shot of Boruto meeting Kashin Koji for the very first time in the time skip, and based on the appearance of Boruto, this is clearly sometime after Sasuke was defeated by Code, so we appear to still be in that phase of 13-year-old Boruto, which I know there are still people who are confused why Boruto in chapter 5 and now in chapter 13 is as tall as he is, so 13 years old, when Naruto and his classmates are running around like midgets. Reminder, the major growth spurts for boys, they tend to happen between 12 and 15 years old. So Boruto being this tall, it just means he pulled in Itachi. Itachi pretty much hit his adult height during the Uchiha massacre, and Itachi was about to turn 13 when that took place. Itachi and Sasuke are only 5 years apart in age. In Naruto Part 1, up until the Search of Tsunade arc, Sasuke is 12, Itachi is 17. Now, what's interesting here is that on the page, we have the summoning clouds and the summoning circle where Boruto's standing, which is our sign that for unknown reasons, Boruto's been summoned here by Scoutmaster Kashin Koji, and Boruto doesn't appear to know what it is that has transpired. But what he does know is that he's in Orochimaru's hideout apparently, because he says this place is, which is a very interesting tidbit of lore, because in the manga format, Boruto's never been to Orochimaru's hideout before. That only transpires in the Boruto anime canon arc. Now, Kashin Koji then informs him that they are currently outside the land of Wind in one of Orochimaru's abandoned hideouts, which, to clarify, for a lot of people, since I've seen comments of people confused why Orochimaru has a hideout in the land of Wind outside the hidden sand village, gotta remember that Orochimaru has a whole network of hideouts across the entire ninja continent. Kabuto tells us that in Naruto's manga, as does Jiraiya. That's why it's so hard for even the Akatsuki to have tracked down Orochimaru's location. He has multiple hideouts and he's always traveling between them. I'll leave in the end credits of this video one of the videos that one of my former editors did, breaking down all of the known Orochimaru hideouts. I also very strongly recommend, if you need brushing up on aspects of Naruto lore from ninjutsu to characters and etc., really check out the short form content on the channel, because that's what a lot of that content is. 95% of it is explaining Naruto lore. Now, we also learned here that Kashin Koji has taken extra precautions while hiding here, because all the secret entrances, they've been covered up by his genjutsu, which, Jesus, Jiraiya fans, we are in the mud right now. This should have never been a debate to begin with, but people are still coping that Kashin Koji is only as strong and skilled as Jiraiya when feet say otherwise. Jiraiya sucks at genjutsu by his own admission, and Kashin Koji out here maintaining genjutsu to hide in the hideout, not using any type of toads on top of that. Now, hashtag justice for Jiraiya, but jokes aside, what this panel shows us is that Kashin Koji clearly does not want to be found, and he's not leaving anything up for chance. Orochimaru's hideouts, they're already super hard to access, but he isn't leaving even a 1% chance that someone who knows where the hideout is might stumble across the entrance, which that's pretty interesting. But even more interesting is the condition that Kashin Koji is in. His legs, they're working properly, but most importantly, he has his arm that was ripped off in the Ishiki battle. Now, There's a couple of reasons why this could be the case. The knee-jerk reactions say, hey man, he happened to find someone super knowledgeable about scientific ninja tech and genetics, and he restored his arm and he got his legs fixed, and that's only 3 people, Amato and Katasuke and Orochimaru, who the latter as of right now isn't anywhere to be seen, or number 2, which I think is the more likely answer, it's not the sexiest answer but it's the most likely one, is that it's the ninja tech in his body. People tend to forget that all the car inners, they're stated to be cyborg. Their bodies, they are pumped full of ninja tech by Amato, ninja tech that operates on a cellular level, ninja tech that we are told in the physical volume for Boruto's manga is based off of the failed technology that Konoha tried, which utilizes Hashirama cells. All of them, to varying degrees, they have a form of regeneration. Even Kawaki, but what we saw with Kawaki was that as more time passed since the last time Amato worked on his body, the slower his regeneration was, and it was never as fast as say Boro or Victor or Delta, who all of them damn near had instantaneous regen. Boro and Victor, they also had ninjutsu that they used for their regen. That seems like that's the more likely answer. It just took a long ass time for the regen with Kashin Koji in order for his arm to recover. Now, the next thing that we have here is that Boruto is uneasy when he's looking at Kashin Koji, which that makes a lot of sense. For the last year, he's been hunted down for the murder of Naruto, which never happened, and he is accused guilty of it, and he's been hunted down by Code. He should be very wary of Kashin Koji right now because Boruto knows everyone except for Ada, Damon, Sarada, Kawaki himself are affected by omnipotence. He was able to convince Sasuke who he was, and at this part in the timeline, it's important to remember Boruto does not know class rep is immune to omnipotence. So he has every right to be on edge here in the face of Kashin Koji. Koji tells him that the frog that is standing at Boruto's feet, it is a ninja tool, it is artificial, which I take that pretty much as is artificial in the same way that the clones have been referred to as being either artificial or synthetic or outright clones. It's always been a switch up depending on who says it, and it would make sense and it would also explain a lot. That's why Kashin Koji's name, it never appeared on the Toad contract scroll. It's a Toad clone with mechanical enhancements, a cyborg Toad clone, which that ties up the knot pretty neatly. And it also makes sense if you're going to make a clone cyborg of Jiraiya, you might as well make a clone cyborg Toad as well. The other thing that we learn here is that Kashin Koji at some point was using the Toad to communicate with Boruto to give him instructions, which, if I had to guess, was Kashin Koji helping Boruto escape from Code at some point after the Sasuke battle. Boruto then asks Kashin Koji who he is and how he knows him, and Koji takes out the remaining piece of his mask. Now, I've had a couple patrons already ask me this in the Discord server, and I've gotten some messages from people on Twitter where people are concerned as to why Boruto didn't recognize Koji. I think there's a couple of things to keep in mind here. Number one is this is dramatic irony where we as the readers know something that a character or characters in universe don't know. And number two, when the Toad was projecting Kashin Koji versus Jigen to Naruto and company, Kashin Koji still had his mask on and the feed was cut off before Kashin Koji could be unmasked. It stands to reason that Boruto isn't going to recognize an unmasked Kashin Koji who in these panels is wearing a hood and he's keeping his head lowered. It's very likely that's why Kashin Koji pulled out the mask, and in the next page of the manga, he's likely gonna look at Boruto in the eye and he's gonna place the broken mask over his face in order to jog Boruto's memory. I strongly doubt Boruto is suffering from some guy-esque syndrome where he can't even remember the names and faces very well, which, speaking of memories, I've seen a lot of chatter that Kashin Koji's immune to omnipotence, and I'm gonna say right now, I don't think that this is the case. While we don't know what it is that makes non-blood relatives of Ada and Damon immune to omnipotence, or people that are non-Otsutsuki who are immune, so basically both of those categories being Sarada and class rep, so we can't say with 100% that there won't be a curveball thrown in and we find out he is immune. I personally don't think that's the case, and there are a few reasons for it, just looking at what the story has showed us. Being a clone does not make you immune to the effects of omnipotence. Otherwise, Mitsuki, who is a clone of Orochimaru, he would be immune, yet Mitsuki is affected. Having ninja tech in your body doesn't make you immune to omnipotence either, because we literally see Code in chapter 80 of Boruto Naruto Next Generations in a panel, people tend to forget about. He is blaming Boruto for things like taking Ada from him, killing Ishiki, taking Jigen from him. Those are all actions he should be associating with Kawaki, but his memory has been altered by omnipotence like everyone else. He's not Otsutsuki, so he should be affected. That's a 99% certainty unless there's something special about Koji like Sarda and class rep. In his mind, Boruto should be the boy who was raised by Kar, unless he pulled an Amato and he figured out for himself that his memories of Boruto and Kawaki were reversed. Kashin Koji is a smart guy, so it is possible, which means at that point you have to do what Shikamaru is currently doing and what Sasuke has previously done. Look at the evidence before you, come to the conclusion you can't trust your memory, and then you actively ignore your memory by understanding your memory is an unreliable narrator. The question we have to ask ourselves is, if Koji was affected by omnipotence, what was it that he saw that made him question his own memories and realize Boruto is Naruto's son and it wasn't Kawaki? Being told your memories are altered, that doesn't work. The manga has told us numerous times before. It's as Ada and Boruto told us, and as Sasuke showed us. The person has to come to the realization their memories cannot be trusted, and even then their memories don't automatically revert back to normal. It isn't like Genjutsu where that happens. That's going to be very interesting to see what led up to the events of Boruto being summoned by Kashin Koji to this hideout. Now, a couple of things that I do want to address real quick. One thing about Kishimoto and the other thing about time skips in general. The first is, I know about the artwork that Kishimoto drew alongside Ikimoto where they drew Naruto and Boruto together. I'm not wasting a video on that. At best, I'll get one of my shorts editors to do a short on it. Second, and most importantly, I want to address the whole time skip complaints I've been seeing where people are mad that we aren't seeing everything that has happened in the time skip. That defeats the whole purpose of the literary function of writing a time skip. You write a time skip in order to keep the pace going without dragging the story out. This is me putting my hat back on as a former editorial assistant. If there's relevant information, you state it via a character statement, or you do what Boruto is currently doing, which is showing the information that is relevant as it is needed to give readers context. Like we had in, say, Naruto's manga, where the only time skip training we saw was 4 pages of Naruto being lectured on Genjutsu and the importance of learning to break it by Jiraiya. Anything else that the anime showed you, that was anime filler that was not in the manga. The same with Sakura's training with Tsunade. We got a handful of pages of Tsunade training her in taijutsu and 2 pages right before the time skip when she was learning medical ninjutsu. We saw none of Sasuke's training with Orochimaru in the manga. Boruto is doing a mix of what Naruto did with the time skips and what Jujutsu Kaisen is currently doing without going into spoilers. Whenever we need backstory and context on what happened during the short time skip of Yuji and Okotsu training before the final battle that is ongoing right now, the story, it just jumps back to that time period to give us the information needed, and then it moves on. Reminder, spoilers usually drop 1 to 3 days before the chapter, so when they do, I'll be back with the full spoilers like usual. We'll also be getting another preview page via the official Naruto website, so keep notifications turned on for that, and don't forget to click on the left for my every Lucy Heartfilia transformation video on my Anime Explained channel, and click here on the right for that Orochimaru hideout video that one of my former editors did on the channel a few years ago, for those of you guys who still need context on Orochimaru's hideouts.